Hello, if you're new here, I'm Tortor and I'm a stop motion animator. On this channel you can expect stop motion animation tutorials every week. So if that's of interest to you, please do subscribe, and if you like this tutorial in particular, don't forget to like and comment. In this tutorial you're going to learn how to do a splash in Claymation. So first of all, I am in Dragon Frame and I'm just using blue clay to create a bed of water at the base of the frame. Then I'm going into the cinematography window and zooming in to check focus. You always want to make sure that things are sharp and in focus, because if they're out of focus in stop motion, you're going to have to start all over again. You can't just tweak that afterwards. So I just go completely out of focus and then pull it back in to make sure that everything is nice and sharp. And when you're happy with the focus, you can start on the animation. So what I'm doing here is I always take 5 images of the scene before I start, and then here you can see I'm going straight in with the animation. Now, to make this a little bit more interesting, I thought I would drop a present which I sculpted last year, also out of clay, into the water to create the splash. So I'm pixelating my hand going in. Pixelation is when humans are animated frame by frame. So you're seeing my hand go in frame by frame, and then you see I release the present. Now it's important to note that as soon as my fingers release from the present begins to drop, and it drops quite rapidly. This is quite a heavy present. I've decided to make it tip on its side because I feel like that was more of a natural drop. You can play around with this, decide how you want to do it, and as soon as it touches the water, we're going to begin the splash. So what happens is you get a little tiny bit of spray. You can see here I've got 2 little blobs either side of the present, and this is creating the first bit of the splash, and these are going to get bigger. Now, when you create a splash, you want to think about the size of the object that is going in the water and the amount of water that would be displaced because of that object. Now, if you think about it, it's normally the same amount of water that would spray up as the object. So in this example, I'm creating a splash about the same size as the present. And this is happening incrementally. You can see the frames changing, and we're now getting a nice big spray of water going up. And I'm creating little mini splashes to show the water dissipating outwards. And I've got this little tool. They're really cheap, made of plastic. You can pick these up at any sort of craft shop, and I'm just using that to poke in and create a more splashy shape in the middle. The nice thing about animation is it doesn't have to be completely realistic. You can over exaggerate. You could have an absolutely immensely big splash for a small object because there may be comedy value there. Equally, you could have a tiny weeny little splash for a big object. My splash I'm doing in this example is quite realistic. It's kind of the splash you would expect for a heavy present to be dropped in the water. So step by step you're seeing the shape of water displacement that I'm doing in this splash. Now you can play around, you can do all sorts of different splash patterns to create a splash. This is the pattern that I'm using, and if you want to mimic it, you can slow down this tutorial and look at it frame by frame and maybe draw out what that splash would look like. Basically, a big volume of water goes up in the middle and then it kind of just breaks outwards. And I'm also trying to show the surface of the water reflecting the splash as well. So like when you throw something in the water, you get a ripple going outwards. I've tried to show the surface of the water rippling outwards. And then when all of the water has hit the surface, I'm touching the clay, manipulating the clay to make it look as if the surface is bouncing slightly, to just kind of show that all those droplets have hit the water and that has had some sort of impact as well. In this tutorial I used 2 different types of clay. The present was made out of a clay called Nuplast, and the blue clay was the same clay that I used in the animating to music tutorial last week, which is a clay a little bit more like Play-Doh. If you found this tutorial helpful, please do let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more tutorials. I'll be putting them out once a week. I've also recently set up a Patreon page where if you really like the tutorials and you want to help me continue to make more and to allow me more time to make them, you can support me for a very small amount every month. There's various different perk levels. All the information's in the description box. For a limited time, I'm going to be offering a card that I will send to you in the post, and I will write you a personal message. So if you're interested in that, please do check it out. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and if you happen to animate a splash yourself, do tag me on social media and I'll make sure to share it. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at Animatortor. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you again in the next tutorial.